This week on Aussie JetSetter, we get to fly on the world's largest operator of the trusty turboprop workhorse, that is of course the Swedish-built Saab 340. We get to experience the rare chance to fly on an airline that has long since collapsed, but still amazingly remains operating under a state of increasingly lengthy voluntary administration. An airline in complete limbo, struggling to find a buyer, yet somehow still hanging on by a thread, courtesy of funding from foreign investment firms, state government subsidies and contracts, and of course the Australian government regional flight booking guarantee. An airline too important to fail that the Australian government has reluctantly committed to buying should no buyer be found. We're flying on Australia's Rex Airlines intrastate in West Australia, on one of its longest routes between Perth and stunning Esperance, on the state's stunning southeastern coast. So with all the disruption and uncertainty going on at this airline over the last year or so, come join me as I show you a little hack to score massively discounted regional airfares, as we get to see what the real state of affairs is at Rex in 2025. Hello, good morning and welcome to Perth Airport's Terminal 2, where it's bright and I guess somewhat not early now, about 9 o'clock on a Friday morning. It's going to be a very exciting morning ahead. We're going to be flying Rex on one of their trusty Saab 340 aircraft to one of my favourite all-time most beautiful towns in West Australia. That is of course Esperance, which is located about some 720 kilometres driving distance to the east-southeast of Perth. Pretty well the last major town of any significant population before you hit the Nullarbor plain all the way over to the other side of the country. So about 1 hour and 35 minutes in the air today on Rex. This flight was actually supposed to leave about 7 o'clock this morning, but yeah, a bit of a frustrating state of affairs. There were a lot of storm activity around here in Perth yesterday. A lot of flights got delayed, some even got cancelled, and yeah, late last night I discovered on the Perth Airport website that my flight was delayed to 10 AM, but I got no official word from Rex. So yeah, it was a really awkward situation last night where I believe the flight was going to be delayed, but I heard no official word from Rex. So that meant I still had to get up about 3:30 this morning, just in case the flight was still going ahead at 7 AM. But lo and behold, at 2:50 AM this morning, I got the message from Rex saying it had been delayed to 10 o'clock. So at least I got a couple of hours extra sleep, but it would have been better to know last night, to be honest. Anyway, we actually flew Rex on their Saab 340 for the very first time, only last week actually, all the way down to Albany. And in that flight review, which is already out now, I discussed the whole state of Rex in 2025 in their voluntary administration state. And yeah, I thought it was a really good flight, really enjoyed the experience. It was really punctual, service was good, and yeah, I really advocated for the Australian government to buy out the airline. But yeah, today's flight's got off to a little bit more of a rocky start with a 3-hour delay, and to be honest, I'm not that confident we're actually going to get away on time. Once again, for this flight, I did deploy a nice little travel hack called the Rex Community Fare. Probably only regional travellers in West Australia really know about it. So basically what happens is at the 24-hour mark, if there's any available seats, that all get slashed very dramatically. For the case of Albany and Esperance, it's all the way down to $139. So this flight literally went from $460 to $139 the minute it went 24 hours before. Obviously, to get away with it, you do have to pick the days that have multiple services. You've got better chance of securing a flight. Also going to be flexible with your dates in case you miss out. You can still hedge your bets going to Esperance. Trans-WA do operate a coach. It's about $107. Takes 10 hours, leaves at 8 AM in the morning, arrives at 6 PM at the night. So yeah, you can do it on Trans-WA. It's just a very long day. You can actually even take the Prospector to Kalgoorlie, then a coach connection with Trans-WA down to Kalgoorlie. That way of doing it takes about 13 hours. And yeah, I think it's about $143. If you can get a $139 flight to Esperance, it is probably actually the cheapest way of getting there. Probably even cheaper than driving. You'd probably spend more money on fuel. That's of course if you're driving on your own and not sharing with other people. Anyway, it's about 1 hour until our official rescheduled departure time of 10 AM. So we better head over to the Terminal 2. Expecting it to be a little bit more busier being a Friday morning with mining traffic and that sort of stuff compared to when we flew out here last Saturday morning. So yeah, we better get going over there now we'll get checked in, and yeah, hopefully no further disruptions, and we're finally in Esperance by lunchtime. Let's do it. Hopefully it's a good experience. Before we head into Terminal 2, let's have a look at the route information for flight ZL2353 over to Esperance this morning. Set flight time on this one, it's about 1 hour and 35 minutes. Great circle distance of 581 kilometers. Though today we're going to do it a little bit quicker in about 1 hour and 20 minutes. For information, Perth Airport is the 4th busiest airport in the whole of Australia. Quite unsurprising considering Perth is also the 4th most populous city in the whole nation, with a population approaching 2.5 million people. According to Perth Airport's year-to-date statistics for the 2024 to 2025 financial year, which hasn't counted the month of June, over 16 million people have already passed through Perth Airport's 4 terminals, on track for another record year of growth. Breaking down these statistics further, perhaps a little bit surprisingly, the biggest travel segment out of Perth Airport was actually interstate travel, like we're doing today, with 5.7 million yearly passengers. Next we had interstate travel to elsewhere in Australia, 5.6 million passengers, finally followed by international travel at around 4.7 million. Perth Airport has 4 main passenger terminals across 2 sides of the airfield. So you got T1, which is adjacent to where we're flying out of today, that has the original main international terminal for Perth Airport. You also got T1 domestic wing as well for Virgin Australia domestic departures. Then you got T2 as we're flying out of today, which is Perth's unofficial mining, regional and interstate terminal that services Alliance Airlines, Rex, some Virgin Australia regional and charter flights, Nexus Airlines Airlink, and as of September last year, also Jetstar Australia. Meanwhile, over at Terminal 3 and Terminal 4, it's all but exclusive home of Qantas and QantasLink, both domestic and international these days. Do take note, however, Air North do fly from there as well. Anyway, on to check-in for Rex today, all done the old-fashioned way here at Terminal 2. Got to visit our staff counter, but it's all very easy as there's practically no one there. Only took a few moments to get checked in, all very easy. Anyway, then it's off to security, which is also very straightforward here. Pretty quiet time of day at Perth Airport. Never really see this terminal that busy, to be honest. Would be a different story, however, during the very early morning FIFO rush. Perhaps late at night before the Jetstar red-eye services as well. Not gonna lie, this really is my least favourite terminal here at Perth Airport. Not a huge amount to see and do, and not really any great views of the tarmac outside anyway. But sure, it probably serves its point as a FIFO commuter terminal nonetheless. Anyway, back to our flight. Seems like we keep suffering short little incremental delays, 15 minutes or so at a time. So yeah, getting rather bored now. But the good news is T2 is actually connected airside to T1 domestic. So let's head over there now and do a little bit of plane spotting to kill the time. T1 surprisingly offers some really good plane spotting opportunities. Really good opportunities to spot some international arrivals, such as Cathay Pacific coming in now, and also plenty of the mid-morning domestic departures as well. All these short little incremental delays are getting a little bit frustrating, to be honest, because there's plenty of good food options at T1 domestic. So yeah, if I know it's going to be a couple hours delay, I'll definitely get something for lunch. But with 15-minute delay here and there, kind of don't have enough time to go too far from the gate. Anyway, let's head the short 5-minute walk back to T2 now and hope our Saab 340 has been towed to the gate, finally ready to take us to Esperance.
Once again, we do apologise for the delay and thank you for your patience this morning.
And just like that, after a 3-hour delay to our original departure time and nearly a subsequent further 1-hour delay, we're finally now ready to board our seemingly uncooperative Saab 340 aircraft. Interestingly, as we were walking out to board from our remote stand, seemed like boarding was similarly stopped in its tracks, as we had to wait for incoming passengers from other aircraft to first go by. I'm not suggesting there actually was any security breach, but this whole situation seemed to be a little bit bizarre. Given a number of regional airports in West Australia, such as where we're flying to today, don't have security. So with no actual physical barrier between arriving and departing passengers, you'd certainly want it to be strictly monitored to ensure there wasn't any accidental or otherwise compromised to sterile areas of the airport. Anyway, at this point we finally get a view of our trusty Saab 340 taking us to Esperance today. We're flying on Victor Hotel Romeo X-Ray Sierra. 33.5 years of age, this aircraft first delivered under lease to Business Express Airlines in America, February 1992, before it then came under ownership of Rex Airlines in February 2004. And just like that, welcome aboard one of the many 50 plus Saab 340s in Rex's fleet. Actually the largest operator of a Saab 340 in the whole world. On board you'll find 33 seats in a fairly standard 1-2 configuration. On board you'll find a pretty average seat pitch of just 30 inches with a width of 18.5. As you see as well, you'll find a fairly sturdy fold back tray table as well as in-flight literature such as magazine and safety demo briefing. Anyway, for now, what better time to sit back, relax and enjoy those Saab General Electric turboprop engines fire up as we taxi out to the runway. Enjoy our beautiful takeoff out of Perth this morning. Once in there, I'll go over what you can expect with the onboard Rex experience. well and truly on our way to cruising altitude, heading in an east-south-easterly direction en route to Esperance. Let's first have a look at the onboard entertainment options on the Saab 340. Unsurprisingly, there pretty well isn't any, aside from the views outside, which are really quite impressive, and of course Rex Truly Oz in-flight magazine, which has some reasonably good regionally focused Australia content, also some good destination guides as well, so well worth a read. Probably will take up half an hour or so of your time. Next up, we also have the in-flight service, which today consists of a basic snack and hot drink beverage service. Quite impressively today, I wasn't just offered either the sweet or savoury snack option, actually it was offered both. So yeah, got both the Bicky Bites and also the savoury snack mix. Both tasted pretty darn tasty. Yeah, also got a coffee as well, all complimentary on Rex. Overall, thought the snack service was really appropriate for the length of flight. Albany flight just got the one snack, although that was a much shorter flight. They also did advise you could also buy alcoholic beverages as well. Declined to take up the offer on this flight, however. Though I do tend to remember if it's anything like when they had the interstate jet flights, they were very reasonably priced, maybe $7 or $8 for a beer, much cheaper than Jetstar or Virgin Australia. Anyway, let's have a look at the onboard lavatory on the Rex Saab 340. Do note there is several different variants of Saab 340 flying with Rex. Some you'll find the lavatory at the front, some you'll find it at the rear, such as on today's aircraft. So yeah, as you can expect, it's an incredibly tiny lavatory on the Saab 340. Got only the most basic of necessities. Doesn't even have running water, instead you've got hand sanitizer. So kind of like a long haul coach, it's there if you need it, but yeah, you may wish to avoid it if you can. Aside from that, not too much more to report about today's flight. It's progressing pretty quickly, though there is a reasonable amount of turbulence and quite a lot of stormy conditions in and around Esperance that we're flying into today. Anyway, so it's looking like we're heading for a pretty stormy approach and perhaps landing into Esperance today. Hopefully it's not too overly turbulent and rough, but nonetheless, what better time now to sit back, relax and enjoy our landing into Esperance today. Then once on the ground, I'll go over my final thoughts and feedback on today's Rex Saab 340 service. And just like that, welcome to beautiful Esperance. Luckily we managed to miss the worst of the storm activity coming in, but as you can see there's certainly been a lot of rain and storm activity in the last 24 hours. Anyway, as you can see, Esperance has an absolutely comically small airport terminal building, so small it doesn't even have regular passenger security screening. Anyway, let's fast forward a couple days to much better weather down at some of Esperance's most spectacular beaches, where we'll wrap up today's flight review. And just like that folks, welcome to beautiful Esperance, located some 720 kilometres east-south-east of Perth, down on West Australia's rugged southern coastline. Esperance is a rather large town, about 15,000 people population. The town of Esperance actually has a vitally important port servicing the southeast of West Australia. It's actually the largest nickel concentrate export port in the whole of the southern hemisphere. Very much supports the nearby region's mining and agricultural exports. Esperance is not just known for its vitally important port. Esperance and the nearby spectacular Cape Le Grand National Park actually have some of the widest and greatest beaches in the whole world. Today we're actually doing a really spectacular coastal walk all the way from Twilight Beach back into the centre of town, just over a 10-kilometre long walk. Some absolutely spectacular beaches to see along the way, and yeah, filming a really cool hiking tour showing off all the great vantage points of Esperance beaches while I'm doing it. Also filming an Esperance town walking tour as well, so be sure to check out those when they drop on the channel. Anyway, back to yesterday's service with Rex. Considering it was only last week I took my first ever Rex Saab 340 flight down to Albany, and it was such a great experience, I really could not fault whatsoever. Yesterday's experience was a little bit more complicated to say the least. Don't get me wrong, once I got on board, it was actually a pretty darn good flight, to be honest. Once again, the hospitality on board was really good. The food and beverage was really good as well. Even got offered both snack options, which I guess was better than just the one snack option on the flight to Albany. Maybe that's because it's a longer flight, they just give you two, I'm not sure. But that was really good. Yeah, the cabin crew was good. Yeah, and considering we were flying into some pretty stormy weather around us, it was actually surprisingly quite smooth. So yeah, no real issues with the flight itself. Also seemed to be a lot cooler this flight as well. So from a comfort point of view, it was actually a little bit more comfortable than the Albany flight. So yeah, the whole delays and disruptions caused by the severe weather the day before, is totally understandable. I totally get that. Better to be safe than sorry when it comes to flying, especially these tiny little turboprop aircraft. But yeah, what was frustrating was going on the Perth airport website about 11 o'clock the night before the flight. I learned through there that the flight likely has a 3-hour delay to 10 AM, which was pretty frustrating to learn when I actually had no official word from Rex. Got home from work, actually went in to manage my booking and checked in for the flight, see if there'd be a new flight time there. Lo and behold, it still checked me in for a 7 AM departure. Obviously Rex don't have a 24-hour call center, so could get no official word from them. So really left me in a state of limbo, stressing out whether I need to be there for a 7 AM flight or a 10 AM flight. So yeah, a delay of 3 hours to 10 AM actually would have more than suited me anyway, get a bit more rest because I didn't really fancy getting up at 3:30 in the morning. But yeah, because I had no official certainty from Rex, did have to get up at 3:30. Pretty well, just in case the flight actually was still going at 7 AM. Wasn't in till 2:50 in the morning that I got official word from Rex that the flight was delayed to 10 AM. So yeah, to me, looking at Flight Radar 24 the day before, the plane flew back from Albany about 11 o'clock in the morning, landed back into Perth about midday, and then didn't do any more flights for the rest of the day. I think some were cancelled. So to me, it seemed pretty obvious there was an issue with the plane. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Rex knew that the flight was not going to be going ahead at 7 AM the day before. So yeah, a little bit of notice the night before would have been good from Rex to avoid all the stress and being in limbo as to what time the flight would leave. Anyway, once I got to the airport for the 10 AM departure, it wasn't too much more of delays in the grand scheme of things. Honestly, I was thinking it was going to go on all day. It was just going to get delayed more and more. But yeah, it was only about an extra hour or so delays. So yeah, I'll take that given the situation. I really thought we were going to be stuck all day. But yeah, apart from that, getting the $139 Rex community fare is a real hat. It's definitely good value flying down at Albany. But yeah, when you fly a couple hundred kilometres further to Esperance, it's literally exceptional value. Considering the Trans WA coach is $107. And yeah, if you were to drive here, 720 kilometres in the tank is probably going to be about similar amount in fuel. So overall, it was a really good flight, really just let down by the whole comm situation at Rex. Really hope they do lift their game in the future so customers are not left needlessly in limbo. Anyway, if you have enjoyed today's flight review with Rex, really appreciate if you could give it a like, leave your comments down below, share amongst your family and friends. If you have already subscribed to my channel and you do watch my content regularly, huge thank you once again for your continued ongoing support. But maybe if you haven't already and you do enjoy my content, please do consider giving it a subscribe, clicking that bell and notification button on so you won't miss the next one. In the meantime, you may also wish to visit my website, aussiejetsetter.com.au for latest flight reviews, industry news, destination guides, frequent flyer hacks and more. Even got an Instagram page where you can catch up with what I'm doing around the world in real time. Also access promos to some of my upcoming content. Even got a Discord server these days for fans and community to discuss all things aviation and travel. Link in the description down below. So be sure to check out that if you want to chat with fellow aviation and travel enthusiasts such as myself and several other YouTubers. But from here in beautiful Esperance, WA, overlooking the absolutely spectacular Twilight Beach down below, thanks so much once again for watching yesterday's Rex Perth to Esperance flight review. And until next one, safe travels, wherever that might take you.